All right, so we're live now?
It's getting there.
Okay, thank you.
And I just think you need to enable your camera, because you're not, I don't think you're.
Perfect, thank you. Well, hello, everybody. We have not only a quorum, I think we're like 100% attendance. Yeah, good job, good job. So I'd like to call our April 9, 2025 Los Puentes Governing Board meeting to order. Roll call. I'm here, Molly Chavez.
Bernice Lopez. Debbie Grego. Sue Schmay.
Debbie Dawson.
Cindy Pham.
Juan Flores.
Anita Nevares.
Perfect, thank you. Folks, on to the next topic, approval of the agenda. Can we get a motion?
I motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you.
And I'll second that.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye. All those opposed? Perfect, so moved. Approval of the minutes, action items, discussion items.
I'll move the motion to approve as written.
I second motion.
All those in favor of approval of the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right, so moved. Let's go on to all of yours. And my apologies, I lost my thought for a second.
Okay, yeah, we're on our bars.
Well, right. No, I'm trying to find the right report. You want to go? So we're trying to implement the process of me reporting to the board correctly, Kelly. So, just guide me through the process, because last month we were a little bit off, so I wanted to make sure that we kind of work together and it looks just like a smooth process. So I think what I'm gonna start doing is doing an opening summary remarks like I'm doing now. So we'll go, today we'll go over bars. We have three that Anna is gonna go and point out the highlights really quickly. And then after that, we'll go over the finance and get the approvals on the check register, right? And then we'll go from there. So, as we move through this presentation, I'll do the opening, and then I'll try to have a good summary, and then Anna will just go over items that I will ask her to go in more detail if I feel that we all need to say. Okay? All right, Anna, go ahead. I'll hand it over to you.
All right. I'm so sorry. I have some with my computer right now. One second. Let me share my screen again. It's just got blank screen.
Oh, we also have, we have the packets here.
Yes. I just want to
Put it on the screen.
yes, I'm so sorry.
Something going on with is your, we are having technical difficulties. We'll be right with you guys.
Hold on.
You have us on lockdown? Yes, maybe uncheck it and check it again, and,
Okay, so I sent the request again.
maybe allow.
All right, yes, so now I can see. So, all right, so today we have only 3 bars to approve. It was like 2 maintenance bar and 1 transfer bar. So these are just the regular bars to make sure that we do not have any negative by fund functions. Sorry, my computer doesn't work again, but I actually will be looking at your screen. So please let me know if you have any questions about these bars.
And then all 3 bars net out to 0, correct? So
Yes,
it's
so
just
it's
the
not,
adjustment.
yes, it's just the, moving money between
motion to approve the bars?
I'll second that.
No, I'm asking for a
We need
motion.
yes, so that's the question. Kelly,
Yes.
we need a,
Yes, I need somebody, I'm saying that I need somebody to.
with somebody else. Thank you.
And I'll second.
I forgot you're covering first.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All opposed? Okay, then we have approved the bars.
Excellent.
Okay,
So
next up.
the next report is a tax report, so please let me know if you have any questions about tax.
Do you have any
I
outstanding
apologize,
ones or
my
anything?
computer doesn't work at all. Okay, it's working now, sorry.
Yeah, as far as outstanding
My-
checks,
I think we did an outstanding check, so I think there was like one journal entry made. There was like actually one employee that we need to reach out and, ask her to clear her check. But it will be at the very end of the report on the bank reconciliation.
Okay.
But this is just the checks that were printed, in March.
Okay, can we get a motion to approve the check registry?
a motion to approve the check registry. I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we have passed to the check registry. Now the rest of the report?
All right, thank you. So the next is our standard expenditure report. So we actually got increase in ACG funds yesterday, but this part will be available next board meeting for us for the board to approve. Monthly cash balance, revenue report, and this expenditure by function and object. And overall, financial summary report, which ties back to the cash balance.
And I just want to point it out, as far as cash balance looks good compared to prior years, so there's nothing else to point out there.
So the next report is the revenue report and expenditure report. Bank reconciliation.
And that's where we're gonna see the, employees outstanding.
Yeah, outstanding check. So we do have, we have one payroll liability check. We actually canceled this check and reissued MG Trust Company, and we also have one employee from January which hasn't the check. So we'll reach her out. And the bank statement. That's all the reports I have.
Any questions around that? And then, we already approved everything, we don't need approval for that one. Okay.
Okay, next up, Title I budget.
Want to present that as well on, or?
Yes, I can. Okay, 1 second. Up. So APS Title I budget, this in, fiscal year 26, we actually overall the Title I, we get increase, however, there is a decrease because they do not offer interventionist, fund. So we budgeted, 1.25 FTE of Leslie's salary, and we also budgeted academic advisor 0.75 FTE as well. We also budgeted counselors, 0.3 FTE to Title I. That's very quick. So this will be in Excel format. Sorry about that.
Do you want me to, I have it on the budget
Oh, yeah, budget
I
call.
can share that. I can.
Okay, I think I can do it. All right, $155 for food and supplies, so this is including, Title I, family engagement events. And we also budgeted $1,776 for family engagement and, postage and mailing, supplies. So this is pretty much consistent how we budgeted this fiscal year. So the only difference is we also added 0.3 FTE for, social workers.
I have a question on the, family engagement salaries for, Leslie's, 0.25. When we budget, compared to the other, budget for the counselor social worker, it looks like I looked at the line, it looks like we budgeted for the taxes and benefits,
Yeah.
and not for the family. It's only like, always that inclusive.
So this is a different account code. So Leslie has like this 1218, so this is her account code, and then we have a counselor and academic advisor budgeted together because they kind of like paid from the same account. Yes, and all the benefits, they are also broken up. So this template actually provided to us by APS, so it already calculates like a benefit, but it's very like, it's like, I cannot just go and change it, so I use these numbers, but on our budget, it might be look a little bit different because this is just, more precise information that we have.
Okay.
But both of them are being paid from the function 2100, which is student support. So all the school stuff is being paid. Intervention uses from 1000, which is instruction, but we're not gonna have this position next year.
Okay.
For next year, are you gonna pay for the interventionist out of something else, or just have to cancel the position?
We're gonna have to restructure how much of that full FTE we're gonna dedicate to an interventionist.
Is this something we need to vote on? You need to approve this?
Title I budget.
Okay, I need a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Nope.
No, you need. Okay. I will motion to approve. I'll second. Thank you.
And all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so we're gonna pass the Title I allocation. Okay, next, the K-12 accounting contract.
I don't know why I am having trouble sharing files.
One and I can.
If you don't mind, because I have these, unless I'm just not familiar with these icons. Error codes everywhere, I mean, I don't know what I'll be sharing. But it's the contract comes through ACES, the Association of Charter School Educational Services, which is the joint purchasing entity. We've been with K-12 since I've been here and before, and, luckily we have Anna, and, I would ask the board please to consider renewing this contract. The price is under a price agreement through ACES, so there's no need to, to look at the procurement side of things.
Did it go up, or is it about the same, or down from last year?
I think the price is,
I think
so it's based on membership.
Oh, okay.
yes, at the time that Brian was working on the contract, I think he was looking at our all ACG, but I think that should be somewhere in the contract that if ACG increases, there will be increase.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I do believe there's a clause in there, the service fee will be adjusted each year based on the most current RFP with ACES.
And who has the RFP with the ACES? Is it APS?
No,
Or
it's
the state?
ACES. So this is, charter school specific.
Oh, okay.
For Charters of New Mexico, it's its own entity.
Okay. Hey, can we get a motion to approve?
A motion to approve the, K-12, service agreement. No, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, then we pass. Okay, then let's go on to the employee handbook.
Okay, the employee handbook was shared in your shared drive. It's just a little bit too much to print out
Yeah.
and include, and so, I'm sorry?
I don't have a hard
Yeah,
copy.
there's no hard copy, so I'm hoping everybody kind of had a chance to look at it. The only thing we've changed was the branding, of course, because we're changing name, and then, of course, the year. So let me see if I can bring that up on screen. Maybe I don't know how to use my computer anymore. Yeah, it's my computer. Wait, and rail then. Leslie, can I share it from yours? Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Did you take your computer traveling with you? I did, and it's actually, it's a new computer, and, that sometimes happens to me when I travel, and then I connect somewhere, it doesn't like recognize all my settings. Seems like I should have, given permission. Oh, no. I apologize. That's okay, that's fine.
Technology.
Spiritual people attending, they're with us. Technology is not cooperating today. Okay, so up on screen we have, the new logo for Archer Academy. And again, the date, has changed to be actualized for next school year. We thought everything else was still relevant, and so we're keeping all the content the same, except again, for where the name, appears, it now is, Archer Academy of Accelerated Learning, and then the acronym as well has been changed. Are there any questions regarding the employee handbook changes? And so then we would just need an approval, from the board?
Okay, Molly's back, so I motion to approve the, employee handbook.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? So moved, thank you.
Thank you, board. I believe the next one is the student handbook. Calendar.
Calendar.
School calendar, okay. That one I'm not gonna have.
And I did not meet.
Okay. Maybe my let me share, actually.
Pretty much everything was the same, I think, from previous year.
Do you pretty much follow APSs, or is it?
No,
No,
we,
it's one of the modified.
we are very intentional about not having weird days off.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
APS will bring students in on a Monday, be closed for election day, and then expect them, and our students don't do well with that.
Yeah.
So we are very, very intentional about not doing, that kind of thing. We align our winter break, our spring break. It looks like it's on your screen.
Yeah.
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 And that we do, obviously, because we have families that have students enrolled.
Yeah.
But we make it make sense for our students.
Yeah.
And I
Good,
think,
good sense.
yeah, this year's calendar got excellent feedback, and so we modeled basically as the same with a few changes. We're looking at how to best, make use of this 12-week, 6-week structure that we figured out works for our students. So far, we've gotten excellent feedback. So we took all the virtual days out of there. We had days for, student-led conferences. Those were not successful. So we're about doing things that work, putting our energies where they work. Teachers needed more time for the core content in the 12 weeks, so we just took all the fluff out of the calendar. So those are the main changes. There are a couple of things that we did keep on there, like the interim assessment. It's just easier to get everybody tested, especially because we serve students online. So those will be only testing days. Aside from that, we are at 185 days. That's making use of the full amount of the professional work hours that the state allows. And so that brings us 5 extra days at the lowest multiplier to increase our budget, without making the students come in for more than they need. Are there any questions on the calendar? Also included the duty calendars for our various job roles. So the teachers, I do apologize to see there's an error here. That should be 185. Then we have our ancillary who work 190 days. We have one employee, the coordinator, who works 194 days. And then our admin team is on 205 days. So as you'll see, it's just every role starts their duty year a little bit earlier, and then of course admin starts earlier and then later. Fill the days.
I'm curious about Thanksgiving. Oh, that's the 27th. Okay. I'm looking at the wrong week.
Yes, we will be closed on Thanksgiving.
She's just making sure that
Yes,
you guys
yes.
are.
And I take it the yellow is professional development for the teachers?
So the purple will be, but the yellow is our jump start day.
Oh, okay.
So that's when we bring everybody in, give them a non-boarding, and we do it, for the various grade levels, and, it's been really successful to do that. Every parent, every student is informed of expectations up front, and it gets them off to a good start.
I'm sorry, can you tell me what the blue days are?
Yeah, the blue days are our finals, and so every semester we'll have 2 days of finals. The first one will be the mark of the end of the 4 rating period, or a 12-week term, and then the second blue one is the end of the 6 weeks, and we also have, kind of like a makeup day or a last chance day right after that.
That's a great idea to do it like that because, November and December, you got a lot of lost learning there, so then you're doing, something that the kids are more interested in. Same thing with, April and May. So, it's a great idea.
Motion to move to
Approve the school calendar.
Thank you.
I second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Raise your hand or say aye. I'm sorry. Juan and
Aye.
I heard yours.
Sorry, aye.
Thank you. Thank you. All those opposed? All right, so moved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Board. I know we typically approve the calendar and the budget at the same time, but since we have a little bit more time for the budget, I figured we'd get the calendar, kind of off and running. Also, the dates, for all the school year events are included in the handbook, so I wanted to make sure we went through with those, changes. So, a few changes, a lot of changes you saw, for the student handbook, obviously updated dates, logos, mascot. I don't know if you saw the little mascot that,
Yeah.
Great. Even though we're still the Panthers,
That works.
we Archer. And so, aside from the, name changes, we had to address the graduation requirements. So obviously the board is gonna be approving the graduation requirements for the class of 2029 and beyond. Recently, the PED decided to update the graduation requirements. So what that means for everybody that's already in high school, this year, they're just gonna finish out with their graduation requirements, and those are outlined here for you all on page 10. And then we have our incoming freshman class this, following year in 25-26, that is gonna be subject to a whole different set of requirements, actually not that different. So, this is the best that we could do, to both fulfill our mission and continue with our charter and support our students and fulfill the requirements of the new, graduation. Before I discuss that, I just want to point out that we have also updated our criteria for grade classification. And this is because we are, fast tracking all the students with that 12-6. We can enroll in up to 8 credits, and some students are taking us up on that. Again, this year, we're gonna have 3 grads that finish their high school education in 3 years from start to finish. So I feel like with this schedule, students will be taking us up on that a lot more. So what that means is that we potentially could be testing students on the SS assessment, the SAT, in their second year of high school, and that's not convenient for them, because we want to make sure that they receive all the preparation they can get before they take those assessments. Therefore, we have changed then what the amount of credits that it'll take for students to become a 10th grader, an 11th grader, et cetera, because they test when they are actually classified as an 11th grade. So we want to give them the full benefit of all the subjects that will prepare them to do better. So that is an important change that we're asking you to approve. The next would be then the cohort of 29 graduation requirements, 24 total units as it is right now for in English, for in math. That doesn't change. What does change is that Algebra 2 in the class beyond Algebra 2 is no longer required. We at Los Puentes believe in preparing everybody for the opportunity they may choose to take in the post-secondary world, so we will continue to offer Algebra 2 to most of our students. We will adjust, but we believe in learning acceleration given the grade levels content that will enable them to succeed in the future. So we will keep Algebra 2 on the schedule for most students. The other change is the 4 credits in social studies, and so that is now is to include personal financial literacy and civics, and so we have been integrating into humanities, so all of these social studies subjects. We will address it the same way in the future. There are also 2 elective credits in one of multiple pathways because we're so small. Our proposed pathways are college-bound or career and technical bound. So those 2 we're going to call arts and sciences pathway and vocational technical pathway. And what the difference will be is the electives they take to prepare, as well as if a student is in the arts and sciences pathway, that we want to expose them to as many college credits as they can get before they leave here with a diploma. The next change would be the specific units that are required by the local board, and what I'm proposing is that we use our advisory. So our advisory class is now being a standalone class instead of being integrated into, like a piggyback on one of the class periods. We are pulling that out and making it an elective. And we're also going to require it for those students who are participating online. So as opposed to just having fully remote experiences with us, we're going to bring them in to take an advisory class with us so that we can talk about the next steps, so that we can talk about their interests, so that we can review their pathway. And being that we are in CSI status for graduation, we want to keep them in front of their graduation progress week after week after week, because that's not something that we're doing very well right now, and there's no surprise that we are in CSI status for that. And aside from that, we are also requiring a 0.5 credit in the senior seminar, and this is a very easy way to both help us with our Gear Up deliverables for the senior class. That's including FAFSA completion, applications to scholarships, to apprenticeships. It will also help us monitor our post-secondary readiness, mission-specific goal starting in, 2025, as well as making sure that the students have a soft, handoff, a warm handoff into the post-secondary endeavor of their choosing. So those are our graduation requirements. I know that you have to prove it, but I will leave those there on page 11 and just kind of continue with some of the other changes. We added some additional opportunities for alternative credit. So if students are engaging in a certain number of hours on an intervention program to improve their math and reading skills, we believe they should earn credit in electives for that. And then this year, we identified a couple new partnerships. For example, the ICANN nutrition class. We want to offer elective credit for students engaging with those types of experiences outside of the classroom. We added some language for our advisory. Our goal is to have students self-refer to our early warning system and be more engaged in notifying their parents when they're not meeting expectations academically. And that way, hopefully, they won't get to a failing grade ever. We've added some information on the gifted education as required by the PED. We limited a whole lot of duplicate language and just things that we felt were addressed in other areas of the handbook. We added a whole section on online programming. This is something that we didn't have on the handbook at all. It is something that students and parents sign off on a contract, but it is outlined here for everybody to see before they make an election to come to our school. We added this whole section on whole school PE. It's been really popular. Everybody loves it. And we would like, staff and students to continue participating in all of that. Everybody receives free lunch, and that's statewide. Again, some more duplicate language. Thought the indoor lunch was outdated, so was the game-related activities, nothing that we have to address school-wide any longer. It's kind of more old school and nothing that we want to call attention to. We moved a lot of the offenses from the content of the handbook onto the discipline matrix. So that's why some of those are crossed out. The cell phones, we have decided we're going to collect cell phones at the door from now on. It is a huge distraction. The PD wanted us to have a policy to address the use or prohibition of use. And so what the staff, in conjunction with the teacher, decided is we're going to have students turn in their phones. We know some middle schools across APS are doing that. I believe it's relatively successful. Again, it's going to be kind of one of those big changes that our community is going to have some stress about, but that's why we have those jumpstart days built in so that we can explain all of these features and assist those people who may need some help in just complying with that expectation starting in 25.
I had a quick question on that one when I saw that.
Absolutely.
So do we have, there's something in place once we get the item? Like, is it going to be logged? Is there all those other procedural things that'll happen? Because I can just see, you lost my phone, you broke my phone,
My phone wasn't broken.
it'll be something.
Yeah. So what we decided is we're going to collect by the last period that the student attends. So, and that in itself is going to take some maintenance because we have students who come in second period and leave fourth, and they start first and they leave third. And so there's going to be a variety of learning opportunities that we're going to have once we begin doing this. But they will have a box, somewhat like a storage box, a pencil box that they will place their phone in. It's going to be noted with their name and the last period teacher. And so we will collect it by last period teacher, right? So if my last class is with Ms. Nevades, then I'm going to put my phone in her bin at the front door where we distribute breakfast in the morning and where we greet students, at the gate as they come in. We do have a safe. We invested in a safe this year, so we should have no problem keeping those items safe. But there is definitely a note on here, and if it's not where it should be, I can certainly move it, about, you know, us having no, not taking responsibility for lost or damaged items. And that's a disclosure that we will definitely have, because parents and students do have a choice. They don't have to bring their phones on campus, but if they do, the expectation is that they will turn it in and that they will trust us to keep it safe, as best we can, right? Let me see. It says here, Archer Academy assumes no responsibility should any personal electronic device be broken, lost, or stolen. And so this is, again, when we have these Just Start days, we are very explicit in explaining things of this nature, right? And we've had maybe 4 people throughout the year, 4 families that decided, you know, this is not the place for us. We're just going to go ahead and not enroll. We're going to move on to the next school, and that's fine. But for the families that do take the time to listen to us and to engage with us, and they are in agreement with everything that we present, this being, you know, one of those huge things that we will make very clear, then that's, you know, that's 90% of the battle right there. Because then, you know, if an expectation is broken, for example, if we continue to have a cell phone issue, then that's an immediate phone call to the parent, and we say, well, we sat down and we gave you 2 hours of our time, and in this we explain that, and so parents really get it. So I do think that it's going to be a definite change, and I think teachers have a really, you know, a somewhat realistic perspective on this. You know, we've talked about the fact that our students, since they were born, they had a device in front of their face, and that's how they regulate. And when we take the only regulation device away from them, it's going to cause some stress, and we're going to have to teach them other ways to, you know, self-regulate. But the amount of trouble that we see, you know, everything that we don't see on the cell phones is really what's the problem is today. So this is what we're willing to try as a team for next year.
Well, and if anyone pays attention at all to what's going on, the PED has said everyone needs to address the situation. So it's, you know, every school is going to be having to come up with something. Like, you know, so it's not just here. It's going to be every school, and they're probably going to do stuff like this.
Hey, Anna, I just wanted to add, I think it's a great idea about the cell phones. Did we want to add something about watches in there? Are you going to be looking out for like watches that have cellular service?
We had not considered. I don't believe we have that outlined, but that's an addition we can add for sure. Smartwatches.
Yeah, because I thought of you're going to collect them when they come in, right? And they're going to be in one area.
Yes. Yeah.
More than likely, they won't have that reception for their watch, but they'll probably get sneaked with earbuds and
Yeah.
try to still get that reception.
Absolutely. So we will add cell phones and smartwatches or internet connected device. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
And then Anna, this is Kelly, I just wanted the last sentence in that paragraph underneath there has the statement, that teachers have the discretion within classrooms to approve use. And so if you guys are going to take and Dan, the new law that they have put in place is the school can choose if they're going to do a ban of cell phones and have their process, but schools can also put in provisions to do other kinds of things. So you just have to have a policy. Is that right?
Right. The law.
Right?
So there was a law that was proposed by MoMA Estes, and it got kind of watered down in the process. And so it went from being like a mandatory, you're going to ban cell phones, to you have to have a policy that may include, and then like a whole host of options. And so this policy would be sufficient for that. The one thing, there is discretion within the school, you know, whether to allow phones. You know, my personal opinion is it's better to just say no phones versus no phones during instructional time. because you're just policing it constantly if it's like the kids can use them in passing periods or something. And then, and so you can have an exception where teachers can use discretion. The one area where there's really little discretion is if a kid has in an IEP or a 504 plan, an assisted device that would be a cell phone or like an iPad. And so sometimes that could come up, like if a kiddo has diabetes and they use the phone as part of their, like insulin tracking, you might have to, accept that. But otherwise, the policy looks sufficient to me. I will just note, I'm a lawyer, and so it's good that you have a disclaimer saying we're not going to assume risk. Whether that would be held up by a court if like a parent took you to court because you lost the cell phone is a separate question. It's good to have it there. I think, I certainly agree with the idea of let's just encourage them not to bring the phones to school at all. But there is, a little bit of risk on the part of the school if you take those items that there could be some liability there if they're lost or stolen or broken. But that's also, the other ways to deal with that, like the Yonder bags that the kids keep with them are really expensive and also don't always work. So it's, you're kind of just making the best decision you can for how the school's going to run. And I think as long as you administer that program appropriately and you're taking care of the devices, it shouldn't be an issue.
So if they are, maybe that statement should be, do you want to include that students who have a 504 and IEP are an exception to this, or, because that sentence there about the discretion, it implies that maybe the teachers could have them take them out of the bins and bring them into class. That would be confusing.
Yeah.
And so I think that discretionary thing, but maybe the statement should be that students who are subject to a health IEP or 504 plan may be exceptioned, on a individual basis or something to that effect. Does that?
Typing it now. Hang on. I think Kelly, you're right. I think special ed and 504 always kind of trump anything. So you don't necessarily need it in the policy because the law is the law, but it's better to just define it so people know. But so let me just finish typing this.
Will you be able to protect against someone putting a broken phone in a pencil box and then afterwards saying it wasn't broken when like the boxes you said would be labeled with the student's name, and all of this sounds like it's going to be additional time spent, but I wonder if there's any way to make a note when the phone goes in the box.
Like a sign-in sheet that they have to sign saying
the screen is cracked
the
or
phone,
Phone is functioning.
the phone, on the top it says, I have given the phone in whatever in the condition that I put my phone in the condition that I know it is in, and will, and I cannot claim later that something is broken, and they have to sign it every day. I know that's adding more to you guys.
I mean,
but,
they could still claim it.
Yeah.
So
We see approximately on average about 60 kids here on campus daily. And that's not a lot. I mean, we're not Siebel High School, they couldn't do this, right? So we do have 2 people who greet our students every morning. They don't all show up at once. So that's why we think this is going to be manageable. And if we have to make a little sheet, condition good for broken screen or whatever, which is a bunch of check boxes, that's something that we can certainly do, and that I would imagine we can do on the procedural side. Here's your, here's the date, and that can be housed in the same, we're thinking like a pencil box with just a bunch of these papers. We can put the date, the screen is cracked, the service or whatever, and kind of like when you drop your car off for service and they say here, or the rental car, they do an inspection. We thankfully have the time to do that. Yeah, absolutely. And these are great. things to, again, bring up in support of just don't bring your phone to school. Yeah, but I know that's not gonna deter a whole lot. We also are anticipating students turning in a phone that they don't care about and then keep the real phone in their pocket, right? So that'll be like the, I know, how do we manage that? But we will learn and be flexible as it goes. I think teachers have a realistic outlook on this. I told them I'll fight the fight, but I need everybody to be kind of on the same page, and so far we seem to. The benefit that we have at Los Puentes is that we're nice and small here, so we can manage something like this.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, my experience with schools using this policy is kids come with burner phones to put into the, and I have one school that has metal detectors they implemented this year, and so they're looking for phones, and kids were going around the side of the school and throwing their phone over the fence and then going and getting it after they got in the building. So kids are creative, they'll find a way, and it's gonna be a little cat and mouse, I think, for the rest of our lives. So I also added the language in the last sentence. So just says any student who requires the use of an otherwise prohibited device per an IEP or 504 plan may use the device in accordance with their IEP or 504 plan. Just pretty straightforward, so it's clear, we're not going to discriminate against those kids who need the devices.
Thank you.
Anna, what about, I kind of see the question coming up with the students of, can I use my phone at lunchtime? What are your thoughts about that? Or is it all, till the end of the day?
It's gotta be till the end of the day.
Okay.
Yeah, and, I think, when we look at it and when we sell it to the parents, a lot of the issues that we have here on campus surrounding conflict among students starts on social media, and it starts in the middle of the school day. It's one person Instagramming another. It's happening. I mean, the best we can, we supervise the students, but, they find a way. And so a lot of those things happen right under our noses, and it's on their phone, and it's real time. So, it's gonna, again, we're gonna have to count on social worker support, counselor. We do a lot of things. We do rock painting, we do arts and crafts in the cafeteria at lunch, and so, again, we promote personal wellness, and this is one thing that we're gonna have to help our students kind of detach from, during lunch and fasting periods, and, interact socially and just kind of have those, STEM activities going for them so that we can support them in that. It's not gonna be easy, I'll tell you that, but.
I mean, I had to go to the office for a phone call, so, but now things have changed. But I think you explaining that to the parents and me understanding that, it totally makes sense.
We'll see how it goes. Any other questions on the cell phone? Okay, let's see, what else did we added the visitors on campus. Dan, I don't know if you were able to kind of take a look at that. We just modeled after APS. We are going to purchase a ring type device. Our door is already magnetically locked, but this will allow us to communicate with people from the outside that we don't have a good solution for right now. We want everybody to fill out a Google form before they come in to tell us who they are and why they're here before we open that door. So we are working on that as we speak. And I want to say those are the major changes, aside from we took everything that is considered a disciplinary misconduct and just try to put alphabetized by offense. And we're finding that, having a social worker as their dean of students, she is pretty good at pulling alternative consequences that are designed to teach replacement behaviors. So we kind of took the predetermined alternative consequences, and we're just going to leave it at administrator's discretion. We did beef up a couple of them, like fight. That's just something, we're almost through, and we've had one this year, and we don't welcome that, and we know that a lot of students come here for safety, and when they see one fight, it, you know, it makes them want a different role. So, we just wanted the discretion to, you know, say, we don't tolerate this at all. Are there any questions on, oh, and I guess this final note, the Title I compact will be revised on the 16th. That's when we have our Title I meeting to take a look at that compact, and so, you know, we can't change it until that, that feedback is in from the stakeholders. Any questions or anything else that you would like to see changed besides the addition of the smartwatches into the cell phone policy? And including the new graduation requirements of the board.
We have a motion to approve the 2025-26.
I motion to approve.
I second.
Make an addendum to, with the requested changes. With- Perfect. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Oh, thank you, Anna. Good work. Governing board training. Do we have any?
So the only thing that I have is that I'm going to be doing your policy review. Anna helped me get all the things that we need, and so I'll be doing that. And we'll hopefully get something to you guys prior to the. I'm hoping for June. That's my. I actually have 5 schools that I have to do this, so I'm parsing out the time. So I will get you guys an assessment that's updated with your current policy handbook that I'm going to access, and then I'll also incorporate these 2 handbooks as well in my assessment.
Do we have any committee updates? That's your
The,
evaluation?
yes, the
So-
evaluations and route. Have a
All right.
few more changes.
Great.
And for the rebranding, are we still meeting on the, what is it, the 11th?
I think
Or you don't-
everybody kind of came in at different times, or there were a couple that varied, so I apologize that I've been at a conference, but I will gather those responses and we'll make something work so we have a nice marketing strategy and forward with that.
Great, thank you. Anything else regarding school rebranding? Perfect. All right, bring us home, Anna. Bring us home.
Okay, so I don't know if anybody got to see the little video that I made for the report. I was not expecting to be here, and I'm glad I was able to modify my flight plan.
Do you have speakers? Don't you listen to it?
You want to do it? It was kind of cool because I was able to cut out all the and then spaces. I can't share it, and now I can't even see my Zoom, and I just logged myself out of my computer. Do you have it, Leslie, or no? I don't know where my Zoom window went. I'm sorry. I do know how to work computers. My brain's on overload right now. I think if I
All right.
you see something?
Yeah.
Do you see this? All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's make it work that way.
coming in.
Sorry about that. Okay, well, our enrollment's dropped a little bit. We're at 158. We have cleared the count days. As of our last report, we were at 162. And when this report was written, we're at 158. Still way better than we have been in the last few weeks, years. And our attendance is doing great, and that, I think, is thanks to our online reporting of the automatic attendance. So we're looking at modifying that next year to get a more complete picture. We did have to delay our plumbing quote. We were trying to do it over spring break, but the vendor we selected just couldn't get us scheduled. So at this point, we don't want a big hole in the building until summer, so we're gonna wait to close out the semester and do it then. For Cokesbury DA, I am working with Kelly. Thank you very much, Kelly, for the next charter term head administrator evaluation. So I've gotten some feedback to make sure that everything is measurable, and then I'll be able to present that to you guys hopefully at the next, maybe not the next meeting, but the very first one of the 2025-26 school year. We have no new data to report on the performance framework at this time, but I am very encouraged to see the SAT results as soon as we get our hands on them. It's going to be exciting. For Cokesbury DB, we're looking at starting the year hopefully with one new hire, and that's just because the teacher is looking at retirement. So, you know, just kind of holding our breath with the whole budget thing. If we can afford it, then we could use additional support for online students. So we would be hiring another online support specialist if the budget does not allow it, and we have a good plan. Yeah, and I'm very excited about the conference I just went to. For multiple reasons. Number one, because I was one of 6 people nationwide that received a TNC scholarship to go. So I don't know how that happened, but you know, we're on somebody's radar about the things that we're doing, so I'm just super proud of that fact. But it was focusing on AI and just this revolution that we have going on, and looking into the future. That's one of our strategic priorities, is to increase our organizational effectiveness, and I think AI is definitely a solution. And it really made me think of how we're preparing students for the future. What does the future look like for them? What do the jobs look like for them with AI kind of taking over everything? And what things can we do to better prepare them to be successful and thrive in that environment in the future? So lots of work in the next 2 years. Cokesbury DC, we had an on-site job fair. We learned a lot of how we can make it better in the future, but this was in preparation for the close of the core grading period and for students to use their time to go work, earn some income, and then receive their elective credits that way. This can be a biannual thing for our school, and we are going to, you know, make this a successful initiative. We're going to try again based on everything we learned. We just closed the 12-week core period, and now we have our students doing electives, credit recovery, or taking a break, and it's great. It's everybody getting what they need. And then our teachers are, you know, just thinking about how to better condense their instruction, what matters, what doesn't matter, how do we make it better. So it's really encouraging to see. I like this 12-6 format. It's working for our community very much. No problems meeting our mission-specific goals. We are looking great on both of those. And then in terms of Cokesbury D, we had the Leave Your Marks project, and if you're driving out tonight, if you're here, you'll see our class of 25 mark all their little handprints on the wall with their initials. Very nice. They're almost done. So we do have discipline data. I realized at the end of last month's report I did not include it. My apologies. But we did have a higher number of the disciplinary infractions, not as much as at the beginning of the semester, but again, with the new dean, students are testing boundaries, and we're having to respond to maintain a little bit more order. I don't foresee our suspension going to increase. Any questions on this month's report?
No, thank you. Lots and lots of work you guys are doing. Thank you guys. Comments on the principal report? Okay, if nothing else, may I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and we will see everyone next month for budget time.
Bye.
That's like teaser. That's all I'm gonna leave you with. That's it. It's teaser.
The fun begins.
Congratulations. On time.
Well,
Budget. Budget first?
budget.
Well,